This coffee is good. What's going on, guys? Once again, we are live. And it is an interesting day, to say the least. With all the things that are happening, I have to say that it's getting more intense as the days go on. Can you feel it? Can you see it? Can you sense it? It's just intensifying. It's being magnified every day. I'm just overwhelmed on a daily basis. My wife and I, when we wake up and we look at the news, we're just looking at each other like, I can't believe that we say this every day. We're like, can you believe this? Can you believe this? This is what we say to each other. Is it not true, honey? Do we not say, I cannot believe what I'm seeing happen almost every day? It's like almost every day now. It's absolutely crazy. So some of the main things that have happened since last time I talked to you has been, there's been an announcement that there's a base that's being proposed to be built that Qatar, the country that basically made statements in favor of Hamas and is a very, strict Muslim country. We've been allies, I guess, with them. We have bases over there in their country, but they're and I was looking at an article just a little bit ago because I wanted to do a little background on their Air Force because they're putting a base in Idaho, right? Now Hegseth came out and he tried to quash all the crazy weird, everybody's just freaking out about some of the statements that were made about Idaho being a place where they're going to build this base. But they're saying, oh, they're just partners. They're just our partners. And we're just working with them. And we train and, we do military exercises, but they're going to have a little place on the base, right? So he wanted to make sure that he quashed all the speculation that's going viral right now on the internet. Because there's a whole bunch of talk about what are we doing with foreign troops being based in the United States, especially foreign troops that are of Muslim origin. It just doesn't make sense, right? So Hegseth comes out and says, oh, yeah, it's just, they're our partners. They always say our partners, or our partners in what? Crime, I guess. They confirm and they stand behind Hamas. A lot of people are saying, what is going on? But if you'll remember about 5 days ago, I live in Idaho, so some of you guys may not know that, but I do. I live in Idaho. And I posted a dream that I had on the main channel, which I linked to in the Telegram channel. And that dream 5 days ago was that I saw military planes flying around my house. So that to me is like, hey, it's very close. Whatever I'm seeing is happening right in my area, right? I see these military planes and helicopters, but they're kind of old school, like almost like 60s kind of things, like Hueys. Like the old style helicopters that were kind of, they didn't look like Blackhawks or anything. They looked like Hueys, kind of like the old school. And then I saw, if you go back and listen to the dream, I saw jets that were kind of old school jets, like maybe from the 60s, like Mirages or old MiGs, old MiGs from the 60s. And I saw them flying upside down and around, and so I was like, "What is going on?" And then they, I detailed the dream on the other channel, the Ministries channel, and so I linked to it so you guys could listen to it and tell me what you think. But this was just 5 days ago, right? So I did a little research on Qatar's military, and I came up with their Air Force. I should say their Air Force. I wanted to see what kind of planes they were flying. So back in 2017, under Trump, they made a deal with Qatar to, let's see, they were flying. Listen to this. So here's an article about this. I want to show you. They're flying old school jets. They were. Now they're modernizing right now. And they're buying all kinds of new jets even up to this point, into this time. They're trying to modernize their military. I'm sure under our, tutelage and our trainers and our advisors, all of our military expertise is being given to them, I'm sure, to equip them for what's coming. But here it is. Just look at this. Look what it says about their military. This article was in 2017 when Trump was first in office. So it kind of give you a date so you can kind of understand where this is coming from. So these are the old Mirages of 2000 Mirage. And they're about 40 years old, or now they're about 60 years old, I think. Let's see. It says in recent months, this is, like I said, this is 2017. Qatar defense officials were busy signing orders and deals for 96 new fighters in a shopping spree aimed to scale the country's minuscule Air Force eightfold. So they wanted to increase their Air Force because they didn't even have an Air Force. In 2017, they didn't even have an Air Force. It says when and if those deliveries are completed, the Qatari Emiri Air Force, which is QEAF, will increase its order of battle from the current 9 Mirage 2000-5 fighters. They only had 9. That's all they had. The whole country had these old Mirages, which are dated to be somewhere back in. I mean, like if you look at these Mirages here, like I've got this, the origins of the Mirage. There's different generations, but the Mirage 2000, which we're talking about right here, if you can see this right here, the Mirage 2000 first flew in 1978. And it entered service in 1984. So it's a pretty old platform. You know what I mean? You're talking about in the mid-70s, not too long after Vietnam. And there's some older Mirages. They were probably flying some older Mirages as well back in all the way up till 2017. So you're talking about some pretty outdated Air Force equipment. And they only had 9. They only had 9 fighters at that time. So they're modernizing all the way up to 96 modern 4.5 generation combat jets armed with the latest weapons the Western world can offer. So that was in 2017. So now they've probably been practicing and trained by U.S. military. And it talks about this article, how the British are also selling them equipment. They acquired 24 Eurofighter Typhoon combat planes in an order that was worth $8 billion. This was like I said, this is an article from 2017. So they've been acquiring, as they said even back then, it was a shopping spree, and they've got the money to do it. So why are they preparing? Why are they getting all ready? I don't know. I think they're getting ready for this big war. Now, there was some other interesting statements that were made about Trump and Netanyahu. Remember I told you guys that Trump doesn't like Netanyahu? Remember I told you guys that? Because he's made a number of different statements that indicate that it almost seems like he's being held in some kind of check and he's being guided and controlled in some way because of, I don't know, some external pressures from the past, maybe. Whether it was the loans that bailed him out of his bankruptcies or other connections that he had to influencers or financiers that were good friends with him that happened to be connected to intelligence agencies. But no, this is very interesting. Honey, if you could pull that article up that you were showing or sharing with me about the that woman who explained the behind the scenes details about his relationship with Netanyahu and what actually may be actually happening behind the scenes. You remember that one that you were sharing with me? Maybe I could read that. I think it kind of fits. Also, we're going to kind of go through some news right now. I just want to say hello to everybody first, as I always do. I don't want to ignore the audience there. We just wanted to thank you guys for supporting what we're doing, for being behind what we do, for the ministry channel that really does stand in prayer with what we do, because I really think that the power of what really needs to be demonstrated in these days is truly a relationship with the God of heaven through Christ. You have to know Jesus, and if you don't, you're not going to understand the times that we're living. You're not going to get the context. You're not going to understand what's really going on. Now, some might say that's kind of arrogant, and who are you? You're just some back here, armchair, religionist that's trying to make an end time kind of doom prediction. Because I saw some people making comments about me on another channel. That's why I'm saying these things, because they think that we're just kind of crazy, talking about end time stuff. But when you really look at what's happening in light of Bible prophecy, you have to take note of all the parallels that seem to be more so than ever before. I'm a person that studied the Bible for 40 plus years. I never said we were in the end times until the last 10 years. Obama was he kind of like gave me a real big insight into what I think was a prelude. Obama and Trump have been wet at the hip from the this rivalry that they've had goes way back. And what you see happening now has a lot of connections to Obama. Now, what many people expected Obama to do with the Muslim world is actually happening under Trump. Trump is literally rolling out things that everybody expected Obama to do. The Muslim world is 100% behind Trump right now. They're hailing him in all of these Muslim countries. They're hailing him as some kind of Messiah too. So the Jews are hailing him as a Messiah. The Muslim world is hailing him as a Messiah. The Nobel Peace Prize winner last night, we were here, watching this unfold. It was some woman from Venezuela, right? The opposition to the current government. She dedicated her Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump. What? The whole world is wondering after Trump right now. Doesn't that sound familiar? Sounds kind of biblical. Like I said, everything I've been telling you guys is happening. People can mock and scoff, but all you got to do is just look at what's going on. I'm just taking note of it, and I'm sharing it with you. Don't stone the messenger. Look at the message, discern it in light of what you understand the Bible to teach about end times, if you know your end time prophecy. Now, a lot of people don't know it, so they wouldn't know how to discern it anyway. But I'm talking to people out there that know. But I think it's very strange indeed. So I had another dream this morning that I told you guys about this dream. So I wake up, listen to this, and I shared it on my earlier broadcast when I woke up because I felt like I needed to share this, but I want to rehash it one more time here because I know there's a lot of new listeners right now. So I wake up, I'm having this dream. Before I wake up, I'm kind of like waking up maybe because I'm seeing myself going back to sleep in the dream. Like I was saying to myself in the dream, don't go back to sleep because the Chinese are getting ready to launch these. They look like rocket launchers. You know how you have a rocket launcher and it's kind of a small little, it reminded me of like one of those mobile rocket launchers. And they were getting ready to light this, or actually the rocket launcher was on a timer. So it was set to go off at a certain time. And I was sitting there watching this in the dream thinking I have to get out of here because this thing's going to go off. But I'm really tired because last night I was telling everybody that I couldn't sleep last night. And I had been up all morning up until like 5 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. And so when I finally did go to sleep, I went into a really deep sleep and I started having this dream. So I was in such a deep sleep that in the dream I was telling myself, don't keep sleeping because you're not going to wake up. And you're going to be sleeping when this missile goes off. So you got to get out of here. So wake up. So I did get up. And no, I've been talking about the end time since 2010, Judah. Anybody that's followed me all the way back into 2010, actually 2008, because I started doing YouTube in 2008. I didn't start doing live streaming until 2010, 2011. But I had even on our live stream broadcasts, I would talk about end time prophecy. But the reason I started getting into the end time prophecy aspect of it was because of Obama, 2008. And I had viral videos on YouTube that got millions of views. I mean, my videos went viral on Hannity and Combs, Drudge Report. It was on all the major news networks. They shared my channel on YouTube because I had a video that went viral about Obama saying that, or that Farrakhan said that Obama was the Messiah. And I had all these videos that I was posting about end times. And I was talking about how Obama fit the description of an Antichrist. And I had a couple channels that were detailing this. I had a spoof channel too called Obama Christ. He looked like Jesus. He was like looking like Jesus. But anyways, no, we were talking about end times all the way back in 2008. Yeah. The only reason I started talking about the end times was because I had this very vivid, and it was actually a tangible, it was during the days of awe, right after Rosh Hashanah, and the stock market crashed. Remember 2008? It crashed 777 points. And right after it crashed, I had that days of awe sense of fear and trembling came all over me, and I started seeing all the signs, and I was like, this is a sign. This is definitely a message. And then I had a dream, and the dream actually happened. It came to pass. And the Lord spoke to me. And I know some people say, what do you mean the Lord spoke to you? Well, just if you're not a Christian, you don't understand what it means to hear the shepherd, that the sheep hear the voice of the shepherd, and another they're not going to follow. So anybody that's a Christian knows about the voice of the Spirit. Okay, so you don't understand that. The Lord spoke to me and said, you're going to be heard by millions of people. And at that time, my channel, I wasn't even posting videos. And the only reason I was doing the YouTube was because I saw the politics of what was happening, and I couldn't believe that people were going after Obama. After I did the research, I started thinking, you know what, Obama is a dark black hole. Like there's nothing that shows his background. I looked into his birth certificate. I did all the research on everything, forensic, computer forensics on all the stuff that was coming out on his birth certificate, and that's legit too. I mean, that if you really look into the forensics behind his birth certificate, it was photoshopped. It was definitely photoshopped when you get into the forensics of it. So I was trying to warn people on YouTube about Obama, and then when I found that video and I posted it, the RNC, literally the RNC went to my channel and they disseminated my video, and I got millions and millions of views just like that overnight. And I started making videos connecting it to the viral video. At that time, I didn't even know what viral was. But that message to me before my video went viral was that I would be seen by millions of people. And it happened to go viral on Yom Kippur, on the day of Yom Kippur. So the Lord spoke to me right out the gate on Rosh Hashanah, and then during the whole of the feast of Days of Awe is when I had, I was so zoned in on what was happening. That's when I had that dream. And I told you about the two eagles, and that all connected to the statement that I heard that you're going to be heard by millions. So the end times has been in my vocabulary for a long time. So Judah, I don't remember you telling me that, but I've always been talking about end times since I've been online. But anyways, getting back to Trump, And what's happening here with this Qatar race, they're basically trying to connect to what's happening here in the United States. I kind of wonder if they're not wanting to kind of rein in Idaho, because Idaho is a state that I think out of all the states in the United States, they're kind of a little maverick state. They're kind of a little independent state. I know that Texas is an independent state, and you got Utah and some of these other states that are a little bit, you would consider them to be, a little more independent. But I think Idaho is probably one of the most independent states out there. And in terms of the people and the population and the geography. Now, Montana's kind of wild too, but Montana has a lot of things that are going on inside of it militarily. Montana's a very militarized state. They've got all the nuke silos there, and it's pretty liberal down south. The same thing with Idaho is pretty liberal down in Boise. But this is probably where this base is going to be. And you kind of wonder, what are they doing? Are they wanting to rein in some of these, Wild Wild West people? That's why Canadian Prepper was talking about moving out of Canada, because he wanted to take his chances in the Wild Wild West, even though he knows that there's a different form and brand of tyranny here than there is in Canada. Canada's taking away all their guns. They're literally taking away gun rights altogether in Canada. And there's just a weird vibe going on right now with all that digital stuff and all the, they're following suit with the UK. And I think the US is going to go that route too. I just think it's going to have something that's going to impact us so overwhelmingly, shocking our systems into compliance. It's going to be an emotional kind of thing that's going to hit so hard. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something that's going to catapult us into calling out for some kind of surveillance. We're going to be begging for surveillance, because that's what it is. It's under the guise of peace and security. You want security? Well, then we have to know who you are, because there's a bunch of terrorists in your midst. And we need to know who's the terrorist and who isn't. And the way we're going to find out is that you're going to be connected to the Borg, and you're going to be a part of the digital identification network. And we're going to know everyone who's walking down the street, because you're going to be all tapped in to the hive mind that is, the AI grid. That's what it is. It's an AI grid. And for people that don't know the technology out there that's already being rolled out in many other countries, they haven't really rolled it out here like they're doing in other countries, but they're getting ready to. And I just think it's going to take one big crisis. And anyways, so Trump is getting ready to go over to the Middle East, and he's going to be hailed as he goes. The whole world is going to be watching. You've got all the Muslims hailing Trump right now. You got all the Palestinians saying that he's a hero. You got the Jews doing the same thing. Now, maybe not so much. There's some of the right wingers are trying to figure out, the hawkish ones are trying to figure out, because they wanted to keep going. They didn't want to stop, but they're being kind of guided by Trump into this, and maybe they're being promised something on the back end. Maybe they're going to get their temple. Maybe they're going to be able to expand and revise this treaty that they're making, supposedly. Everybody's trusting Trump, but I don't know why. After what happened with Iran, you got to kind of wonder what happened there and how Trump set them up for a decapitation. Because Trump knew they were going to be decapitated. But he always probably had this back thing with the Iranians. Hey, I gave you 60 days. It was 61 days when they did it. So you should have listened. Even though he dissembled and made it seem like he was going to negotiate with them, still, that was their stupid fault for not believing that he was capable of allowing, with full knowledge, that they were going to come in and decapitate their government. And that's exactly what they did. So then he praises Iran today. Did you see that? Trump praises Iran. It was almost like he was trying to seduce them back into a, hey, I really respect you. I forget what he said, how he said it. It just reminded me of just pouring on the pouring it on thick. You know, he was just saying, oh, we want Iran to be involved in this as well. And, you know, we really appreciate and respect Iran. He was just pouring on the flattery. You know, that's one thing that Trump does good, is he knows how to flatter. Even after he's stabbed you in the back, he'll come back around and flatter you again. And it's amazing how people just come back around and trust him once. I don't know if Iran's going to trust him, but it's pretty crazy stuff. Also, did you hear Trump has received, now they say allegedly he has received the COVID-19 mRNA booster and flu shot. Now, there's a combination flu shot out there now. And it's been admitted that the mRNA has not gone away. Just the old COVID shots that were supposed to be safe and effective, that turned out not to be safe and effective. Those mRNAs, bad. Yeah, we've done away with those, MAGA and MAHA. All of you, make America healthy again, people. Okay, so we're good, right? Okay, we're going to bring in the new mRNAs now. This is a whole new revised mRNAs. These are safe and effective. You can trust us on this one, right? You should be running to get these because these are going to heal you of your cancers. We can customize them in 48 hours for whatever problem you have to remedy it. Yeah. And the AI does it. So the AI is smart. It knows what it's doing. It's able to sequence everything. All we need is a little sample of your blood. That's why we can do it so quick. 48 hours. And while we're in there re-editing your genes and everything, your DNA, well, we'll also hook you up with the Microsoft patent 2020-060606. And that will reward you in your physical body because you need some crypto, right? The cryptocurrency that's connected to your, you know, the actions in your physical body are going to be rewarded with crypto. You know, that patent that Microsoft made in 2020? And it's a legitimate patent, too. You can go look it up. Just go look up Microsoft patent 2020, which is 2020, 060606. And it's all about cryptocurrency rewarding you in your physical body. And they're trying to dispel the idea, well, that there's got to be a chip. How are they going to reward you? Well, there's nanotechnology, but that's not a chip. That's just nanotechnology. Remember, Elon said, we don't got to put a chip in your brain. We don't have to do surgery. We can just insert it through your veins and arteries. You know, just stick it into your jugular, and it will just go right into your cerebral cortex, and it'll connect you to the AI of Internet of Bodies. You could become an Internet of the Body. They call it Internet of Bodies, Internet of Things, Internet of Eyes. The Internet of Eyes is all the camera systems, all being hooked up through AI. So you're going to be hooked up through AI. All of your data is going to be hooked up into you physically, not just a chip, not just a tattoo. It's going to be in your body, in your blood. Nano. Remember Mork and Mindy? Nano. It's going to be in your physical body and in your brain. That's how the interface. You got to merge. You know, people are merging with the demon now. Elon called AI the demon. Everybody's merging. Whether they know it or not, they're getting closer and closer to the merge. Singularity has already happened, according to Elon. And I know a lot of people that are playing with AI big time. They're playing with it, and they don't even realize they're being possessed by it. They have no clue what they're doing. And they're opening the door to the demon, just like Elon said. But hey, Elon said we couldn't defeat the demon, so we have to merge with it. You know, if we can't beat him, well, we got to join him, right? Well, I don't know. Elon reminds me of a Jack Parsons, and if you just know a little bit about the background of those technologies and where they all come from, they all get downloaded somehow. Tesla, all these guys got it from some other source outside themselves. So is this alien technology? Is CERN? I mean, go look at CERN. It's concerning what's going on at CERN, how they're tapping into the other dimensions and talking about entities that they're communicating with. And this is literal. These are science projects on a large scale, but they're talking about esoteric and occultic things that are happening with this technology. So you have to look at things not just in a natural sense, and you have to be looking at this in a way that is spiritual, because a lot of what you see in the news right now is being guided by a narrative that is definitely spiritual. So Trump gets the mRNA booster and flu shot, according to White House physician. So the White House physician has stated, and there's a letter, a memorandum on the October 10th, and it says, to Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, signed by Sean Barbella, physician to the president, captain of the U.S. Navy. And basically he says, all the way down at the bottom, it says, in preparation for upcoming international travel, President Trump also received preventive health care screenings and immunizations, including annual influenza and updated COVID-19 booster vaccination. And they have confirmed through questions at the White House, I think was it the CD? I just heard it like yesterday or the day before, that they are indeed mRNA based. They're just different. They're not the same ones. They're new and improved. That means they'll kill you even faster. I don't know. I'm just telling you what's going on. So you can find all that on our Telegram page, and I'll show you right now here so you can see it. This is the memorandum to the press showing what happened with Trump from his physician. And let's see. Oh, yeah. Bitcoin is crashing. It's crashing. What happened? It went from 121,000 per coin. Now it's down to 114. I know there's a lot of volatility, but what's really going on? Are we on the brink of seeing something really catastrophic? Let's see what Bitcoin is at now, just out of curiosity. Let's see where Bitcoin is right now. It is at 112,520 at this very moment. 112,000. So it's gone down another 2,000 since the time of this screenshot. So quite a big drop, I would say. And this happened right after Trump made his statements about imposing 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports. Now, did you see what Trump said? So after this dream that I had of the Chinese putting these missiles on timers, I woke up and I told my wife about the dream. This was today. She tells me, oh, there's been a statement by Trump. It's a really long statement. I just read the first paragraph and I'm like, oh, okay. She kind of read me a little bit, and then I had to go do some stuff. And I came back and I was like, okay, I got to do a broadcast because I know that has something to do with my dream. Because the way she explained it sounded like that was connected to the dream. So I went live this morning and I talked about it. And I don't know if you posted it here, but let me just see if I can find it. What Trump's statement was. He said, this was his full statement. I want to read the full statement. I don't know if we posted. Did we post it? So much news. Tucker warns of civil war in the United States. Can you believe that? Kiev completely knocked out of power because of the attacks from Russia yesterday. Completely knocked them out. So this is all today. Let me see if I post it. This woman right here, she's the Nobel Peace Prize winner. She dedicated her Nobel Peace Prize to Trump. But Trump was very sad. It's okay to be sad, Trump says. Every once in a while, You lose some. I know. I've filed bankruptcy 7 times already. But hey, countries like Qatar came around and pumped in $1 billion plus to bail me out. I'm guessing he owes them something. Was it? I know it was one of the oil countries. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, here's Kiev completely in the dark. All right, so we didn't post it, honey. Okay, so where is that thing? I want to get that. I want to read that to the people here. So let me read this to you because I'll find it over here on this other page here. Let me see. Chaos has been reported at Turning Point USA as staff is scrambling behind the scenes after leaked texts from Candace Owen showing that Charlie Kirk was definitely off the train, off the Jewish fundraising, because they were getting huge amounts of donations from Jewish billionaires, and because he didn't want to be coerced into saying certain things, he decided to not take the money right before he was killed. Yeah, so she revealed all the texts, and now Turning Point is in chaos right now. They're saying all kinds of crazy stuff is going on behind the scenes there. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Look at this one. This is all the Gazans going back. The Great Return. I don't know if the Israelis like this. I don't even know if Trump likes this. I mean, I know Trump wanted to clear out the land so they could rebuild his Riviera there. And I don't know if this is going to work out in their favor. I don't know if this is good or bad for them or what. UK is fearing the coming protests because of forced digital IDs. They're going to continue to use pro-Palestinian as patsies to ban upcoming protests against digital ID. Oh, that's what they did during COVID. You know, when COVID came around, there were all kinds of protests taking place against China. Here, with all the stuff, Antifa was going on here, and it just happening all over. And China used that to clamp down on all these protests because that's when everybody had to go inside, remember? So they stopped effectively a whole bunch. Everything was done under the cover of a mask. All kinds of crimes were done under the cover of a mask. You remember how the protests, everybody had masks on. Nobody could tell who was who. Everybody had masks on. And all this rioting was happening. And, I mean, they were letting people go out and protest and riot, but they wouldn't let you go to church, remember? So this is it. Let's see if I can find this. And then this happened. This huge explosion. It says a military explosives factory exploded in the United States. Tell me that this isn't connected to what's going on with China, probably Russia. This was sabotage, I think. It says a powerful explosion occurred at the Precise Energetic Systems Company near the city of Baxnort, Tennessee. This comes after AES was awarded a $120 million contract to produce TNT for the Department of War. There is no information about casualties yet, but 19 people are missing. I heard that there were people that died. Obviously, this was a massive explosion. Rescuers still cannot start work because explosions at the factory continue. That happened today or this morning. I will read you this here in just a second here. Let me find it. Look at this. President Trump was called by Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Machado, and she said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. What? I didn't say, then give it to me, though. I think she might have. She was very nice. Oh, my gosh. Trump said that. Can you believe that? Some of this I haven't seen yet. Let's look at that. I'm kind of curious. I got to hear this in his own words, if you don't mind. Let's see if I can put this up here. Okay, here we go.
The person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. That a very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me though. I think she might have. She was very nice, and I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but there are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I'm happy because I saved millions of lives, many millions of lives. And speaking of somebody that saves lives, don't ever play golf with him because Keegan Bradley just walked in, one of the greatest golfers in the world.
Okay. So there you go. He would have accepted it if she would have gave it to him. So update on Trump threatens China with an export control on both airplanes and airplane parts. No, this is going to get really bad. Okay, so I got to read you that whole statement. Let me find the full statement. Okay, so I think it would probably be on his channel here. Let's see if we can find Trump's channel. Very long. Okay, here it is. So this is the statement of Trump. Look at how long it is. So when I woke up from this dream, she tells me about the first paragraph or so. I come back and I read it on the broadcast, and I'm like, wow, this is exactly what's happening. We are literally at the point of a kinetic war breaking out with China even. Not just Russia, not just Iran, not just Venezuela, but China. Listen to this. Donald Trump says this today. Some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile and sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else that they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. And I started talking about this. I started saying, well, that's kind of what we do with our almighty dollar, don't we? We kind of monopolize the global economy. That's what the world reserve currency status has given the United States, the ability to leverage and impose our own will upon sovereign nations by sanctioning them. Isn't that what we do? Now, it just seems to me that the BRICS, and we knew this was coming all the way back in 2009 when the BRICS were formed. We were talking about BRICS all the way back in 2009 and 10, that they were preparing for a big reversal on controlling the global economy. It was very clear. Soros said it very clear. I think it wasn't Soros. It was, I think it was, what's his name? Not Rothschild. The other big bloodline. I forgot their name. Anyways, I forgot his name. Anyways, he had said that the guy that I'm thinking of was interviewed, and he had talked about the orderly decline of the dollar, giving way to China's emerging economy, and that we would have to yield the global order economically to China. And that this was something that we as in the U.S. should be preparing for. This was all the way back, 10 years ago. So we knew that this was coming. It's not like it caught any of us by surprise that this was going to happen. But, the world, I guess, just got to the point where they didn't want to be controlled by the almighty dollar, the oil dollar, right? Because that's what they call the petrodollar is. The petrodollar is controlling all transactions that have to do with energy and oil. But that's not happening anymore. You know, they've a lot of the world has kicked that off, and they're doing business now in other currencies, and they're doing it with, you know, gold back. Before, if a country tried to do that before, we would go to war with them and crush them. That's what we did to Libya, because they were going to try to do it. They were going to use their gold and their oil for their own currency, and we said no, and they didn't listen. So we went in there, as Hillary Clinton said, we came, we saw, he died. And then she started laughing, cackling like a witch. And we did the same thing to Saddam Hussein. We just made up the fact that there were weapons of mass destruction and he had somehow had a connection to 9/11, even though he didn't. And we just went in there and destroyed the whole country. But that's because Saddam Hussein threatened to go outside of our dollar's control. And so that's what ends up happening. So that's what China's doing. China's doing the same thing right now, but it's a bad thing for us, right? Now that we're on the other opposite end, and now we might not be able to have certain industries working because they're controlling it, right? They're going to sanction us. They're going to make it so that it hurts us. Well, that's their leverage. Nobody has ever seen anything like this, but essentially, it's almost like Trump is morally outraged. Like, how could this ever happen? Why would they even do this? Don't they know that we're a loving country? Don't they know that we have the best interest of the world? You know, this is the mindset I feel like Trump is portraying here. Nobody has ever seen anything like this, but essentially it would clog the markets and make life difficult for virtually every country in the world, especially for China. China's actually hurting itself. They don't even know it. We're just trying to save you. Why don't you listen? We don't want you to harm yourself, China. We have been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this trade hostility, which came out of nowhere. Oh, really? Sounds to me like this trade hostility came right out of D.C. This is what started the whole ball rolling, didn't it? I thought all those tariffs coming out of the White House were what started this whole ball rolling. But hey, Trump doesn't know where it comes from or where it's going. Our relationship with China over the past 6 months has been a very good one, really. Outwardly, maybe. Thereby making this move on trade an even more surprising one. Really? I wasn't surprised. I figured they would do that. I figured something was coming on the back end. I wasn't taken by surprise. I knew. If I was in big business, I would be betting against all of what Trump's doing right now, having a boomerang effect. That's what I would do. I'd probably, if I was, in Wall Street or something, I would be putting out a lot of put options on a bunch of stuff because I know it's all going to crash. I have always felt that they have been lying in wait. So he says they're waiting. They're lying in wait, right? What, they got timers on these things now? Are they set to go off? Is this what he's talking about? They're lying in wait? They're waiting for what? And now, as usual, I have been proven right. Oh, really? I thought you said you didn't know it was coming. I thought you said it was a big surprise. And now you say you knew it was coming? There is no way that China should be allowed to hold the world captive. But that seems to have been their plan for quite some time, starting with the magnets. I guess they have these certain magnets that they can only produce, and other elements, rare earth elements, that they have quietly amassed into somewhat of a monopoly position. Oh, but Trump, I thought you liked monopoly. I thought you were like, Fifth Avenue. Those are like the best properties, right? I mean, isn't that why you had to fall out with Epstein? Wasn't that you bought that property out from underneath him and he was all upset? Remember that? Didn't you guys hear that story? But anyways, the monopoly position, huh? A rather sinister and hostile move, to say the least. But that's what business is all about, isn't it? It's cutthroat. The one that has the most toys wins. But the U.S. has monopoly positions too. We have a boardwalk. It may not be as good as the Chinese, but we have some. We have other colors that are close to the good properties, right? We've got Gaza. That's prime real estate. So the U.S. has monopolies also, but much stronger and more far-reaching than China's. I have just not chosen to use them. There was never a reason for me to do so until now. Until now. Now I'm going to pull them out. And we're going to make this party really banging. We're going to make this party really go now. It's going to get serious now. So he goes on to say, the letter they sent me is many pages long and details with great specificity each and every element that they want to withhold from other nations. Things that were routine are no longer routine at all. I have not spoken to President Xi because there was no reason to do so. This was a real surprise, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems to be no reason to do so. The Chinese letters were especially inappropriate in that this was the day that after 3,000 years of bedlam and fighting, there is peace in the Middle East. I wonder if that timing was coincidental. Yeah, I wonder. Does sound a little coincidental, don't it? Depending on what China says about the hostile order that they have just put out, I will be forced, as President of the United States of America, to financially counter their move. You know, anytime we see these world wars that broke out, it was always because of financial chaos that was being preceded by trade wars that escalated to hostility, to kinetic conflict. This is a war right here that's about to go hot. So the United States, President Trump has stated that he's going to financially counter their move. For every element that they have been able to monopolize, we have two. So whatever they do to us, we're going to do them twice as hard. I'm sure that's going to work out just fine. I never thought it would come to this, but perhaps, as with all things, the time has come. Ultimately, though potentially painful, it will be a very good thing in the end for the USA. Really? What happens if there's a nuclear war? Will it still be good for the United States? One of the policies that we are calculating at this moment is a massive increase of tariffs on Chinese products coming into the United States. A massive increase on tariffs. You know, that means that you're not going to be able to get anything anymore. I'm just telling you, most everything coming from China anyway. All the parts, everything we assemble that we say is made in the United States, it's actually parts are coming from China. Everything. India, China, Vietnam, Taiwan. Massive increase on tariffs on Chinese products coming in the United States of America. There are many other countermeasures that are likewise under serious consideration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What are the other countermeasures? What are the other countermeasures besides that? Just curious. Maybe that's why the stock market took a crash and why it's going to continue to crash. Maybe that's why Bitcoin has lost all that money. People are probably now throwing their money into gold and silver. And by the way, I was thinking about this today. My wife's out in the garden and I'm thinking I'm butchering some chickens. And I'm thinking, you know, the Bible says that your gold and silver is not going to be worth anything. You're going to throw it out in the streets. It's not going to be worth anything. And, you know, you could have turned that gold and silver into something that would have, as Jesus said, would have made for you friends in eternal abodes. But what did you do? You held on to it. And now it's dust. It's not worth a thing. You know why? Because when it all hits the fan, people that are survivalists that understand how to grow a garden, that understand the basics of self-sufficiency and survival. They won't have enough oil for you, right? They're not going to have enough oil for you because your gold and silver is not what they need. They don't need your gold coins or your silver coins. That ain't going to help. That's not going to, what are they going to do with it? Who's going to want that? People are going to want food. People are going to want food. They're going to want something that's tangibly helping them to live, to continue to live. Gold and silver is not going to make you to live at a certain point because nobody's going to want it. There might be people that'll be taking it in the initial phases of it because they're still thinking that it's going to mean something. But at a certain point, when you get into a survival instinct, you don't think about gold and silver as anything. It's just another rock. It's just a rock. It's just a rock on the ground. What good is a rock? You can't do anything with it. What are you going to eat it? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with a gold ounce? I surely ain't going to take it. I would probably keep 20. If somebody tried to give me a gold ounce when all that stuff hits the fan and said, give me 20 of your chickens, I would say, sorry, my kids got to eat. They can't eat your gold coin. What about Bitcoin? I'll give you $10,000 in Bitcoin. No. You can't transfer that to me anyway, and I wouldn't take it even if you could. So who's the rich one and who's the poor one? Overnight, in this dystopian nightmare that you've all of a sudden woken up to. So he goes on to say, now I didn't even read this one either. Let's see. I read this one, but I didn't read this one. So it says it has just been learned that China has taken extraordinary aggressive position on trade in sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to effective November 1st, 2025, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. Could this be the timed, the missile that I saw timed, like it was on a timer? Like I'm thinking right now that as I'm reading this, that maybe this is a part of that. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not for other nations who were similarly threatened starting November 1st, 2025, or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also, on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow. Tell me that's not a dream that came true just today. So when my wife told me about this, I was like, that sounds to me like the dream. So when I got home, I read it and I went live, and I'm going to post this on our Telegram page so you guys can go back and read it. You can also go onto Trump's Truth Social and read it or whatever. But this is at the back end of peace and security. Peace and security. Are we on the precipice of sudden destruction now? What do you think? How many of you guys see that this could be a biblical pattern that you don't want to really actually see come to pass? I'm not reveling in any of this, believe me, that it's actually happening, if it is. But I think it is. I say it with fear and trembling that this could be it. What do you think? Do you think that this is it? Tell me in the comments. Type 1 if you think that this is it. I'm kind of curious. I want to see what you guys think. Is this the moment when all this is going to hit the fan? Type 1 if you think it is. Type 2 if you don't think it is. Maybe this is just coincidental. Maybe this is not a figment of our imagination. Maybe this is all going to get better. Type 2 if you think that. I'm kind of curious. I'm just going to sit here and look at your comments here for a minute. Arnold Schmidt says 2. Okay, cool. Arnold, now tell me why you think that. I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious what you think and how do you see this? I want to try to understand how people are seeing this in light of what they're doing right now. Yeah, that's good, Joe K. That's it. Every day is a good day until it isn't. Absolutely. You know, when it really does hit the fan, you're not going to want it to hit the fan, believe me. All of you people out there that are anticipating prophecy. Now, if you have the Lord, I believe that you're going to have a sense of security. You're going to have a sense of peace. You're going to have a sense of divine order, that you're in God's will, and that there shouldn't be anything that makes you afraid. That you will have comfort, you will have the presence of the Holy Spirit comforting you in the midst of that evil day, and that He'll usher you into His presence if that's how bad it gets. You can be assured of that. 3 Hebrew children. Think 3 Hebrew children. The chicken's going to hit the fan at CSE. Yes. You think it's going to be delayed until 2029? Really? I don't know how this can be delayed. It just doesn't. It seems like it's got to go. It's got to either escalate or it's got to go back. There's got to be a big backtracking, and I don't think we can backtrack. I think we're too far in. I don't think that you get off this crazy train. There's no way you can stop it. It's only going to get. It's just going to take a couple, quick turns, and this thing's going to go over the edge. It cannot sustain what is happening right now. This cannot be sustained. Well, Jesus is going to come back no matter what. Even if they take out all the Christians, he's still coming back to judge the world. That's why he's coming back, not just to get his kids, his people. Yes. November, maybe November. As they say on 4chan, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. We keep wanting the end of the world to take place. I know, I see it on the forums too. It's kind of a funny meme. People are always talking about 2 weeks, 2 more weeks. It'll happen. Give it 2 more weeks. That's all because of Hannity, remember? Hannity was like, oh, just in 2 weeks, it's all going to come out in 2 weeks. TikTok. And then he puts a little meme of the TikTok. It's like it never comes. Nothing ever happens. But I think we're going to see something here now. I think we're going to see it now. I think it's going to hit the fan here. I think you're right on that too, Joe K. I think there is a remnant out there that have been watching. The Lord has been preparing, and they have been preparing because they know God has put it upon their heart to prepare. And we've done that. You know, we've been in prep mode for a good 10 years, for sure. A good 10 years. And thank God we needed all 10 years. We needed every bit of that 10 years, you know. You've been hanging on since 2001. Well, that was the beginning of the end, I think, the 2001 event. But that was just kind of like getting us all acclimated to what was coming. That was kind of a that was, yeah. Yeah, so let's say a prayer and make sure that we're all prepared in every way, because it has to do with the preparation of your soul. If your soul is not at peace, when you start thinking and contemplating about these things, then you should be calling upon God. You should be asking Him for His help and deliverance, and His true salvation is, it's a real thing. It's not just a kind of an emotional state an opiate, as they say, of the masses. This is a reality of relationship that should translate into your everyday life. Decisions that you make, events that seem to be orchestrated and timed perfectly, that God has foreordained for you to walk in. Like you listen and you pray, and God directs your steps. He opens doors that no man can shut. You know when God's working in your environment. You don't have any doubt about it. God gives you dreams and visions that happen as a heads up. He tells you ahead of time before they happen. Isn't that what it says the Holy Spirit's job is? Not just to lead us into all truth, not just to comfort us, but to show you things to come. He's going to show you things to come. The powers of the world to come, right? You're having a foretaste of the power of the world to come, as it says in Hebrews. What was your comment, Arnold? I didn't see it. Anyways, guys. Psalms 91, huh? An impervious response is when a person sees your comment and circuitously ignores it. It's just the fact that there's a lot of comments, and I don't always answer every comment. If I did, I'd be sitting here just talking to the comments section. Sometimes I just move on. I don't spend all day on the comments. Stop being a conspiracy theorist. Not everything is a conspiracy. You tinfoil hat. Where are you? 2029. Look back to read it. 2029. So many comments. I don't see it. How far back? I don't see it. But see, if I do this, then I get caught up looking for comments, and then it's called dead air. You don't want dead air. When you're on a radio program, that's the worst thing you could do is have dead air. Or on any kind of program. You got to make sure you keep things rolling, keep people engaged, make sure that you're, Nobody commented on your dream either. What, Renee? You had a dream? Oh, your dream. Okay, you told me that in the first broadcast, right? Didn't you share your dream in the first broadcast? You had fish nibbling at your toes or something? Or wasn't that it? They were nibbling on your toes when you had it hanging over the boat? uh We need more conspiracies. The other ones have already come true. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Renee. I was kidding. Conspiracy theory. No, I think I do remember you saying something about a dream, didn't you? Or was that somebody else? Somebody else shared a dream earlier, the first broadcast that I did. I'm not sure if that was you or somebody else. No, it wasn't about fish. Don't worry. I was just messing with you on that one. Hey, Tim, popsicle toes. Oh man, okay. It won't take till 2047, ADub. I think AI is exponentially increasing. It's going to be so far beyond us in the next few years. I don't even think humanity has even 5 years left with the way things are going. I mean, and not just on the level of machine, machine involvement taking over everything. I think there's something more behind the machine. And I do believe that it has something to do with the Bible. And when we talk about the Bible, we're talking about spiritual influence. We're not just talking about the machine. I say the ghost is in the machine, and that's the thing you need to really be looking at, is the ghost. What's the ghost? What's animating humanity really from behind the scenes and taking over their will? Literally taking over their will. Scott, God bless, brother. That looks like a Game Boy controller. My kids love Game Boy. By the way, are they playing games right now? Oh no, it's late. They're already in bed. Good job. We got a live one in the chat. His name is Scott Guthrie. And Maria. Do not call conspiracy do not call conspiracy everything this people calls a conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear and do not dread it. Yes, that is a very good scripture. I wonder if they wrote that for this generation. The conspiracy theorist generation. The Alex Jones tinfoil hat generation. Right? But hey, a lot of conspiracies did come to pass, right? The conspiracy theorist actually looks kind of smart right now because they're no longer conspiracies, or they're no longer theories. Now they're legitimate conspiracies that have been proven out by facts, not just theory. Well, let's see what else we got here. Is there anything else we can look at? I'm sure there is. I had a long list of things here. Were you guys here this morning when I was early morning? Because we were watching this at 2 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time. So it would have been 4 or 5 in the morning on the East Coast when they were giving out the award. And we were like, it's going to be Trump. It's going to be Trump. The last minute. But the betting sites said that this woman, Maria, from Venezuela, the politician, was going to get it. And it was 70% chances that she was going to win. Trump's chances were only like 3%. So when they made the announcement, Trump started to cry. He was like, boo-hoo, it's okay to be sad. I've been rejected. He's probably saying to the world now, "Oh world, you have killed the prophets and stoned those who have been sent to you. How often I would have gathered you." This is kind of like a parallel. I don't know. I see so many weird parallels here It's just kind of creepy. You have to wonder if it is that coming in the stead of, there's that parallel event that's going to be happening in the last days we should be watching for. And that's why I knew Trump would come back from the political dead right at the end of the cycle of this campaign primary, that he would come back, roaring back. Trump predicts strong Israeli-Saudi ties within a year. Really? Mm-hmm. Here is the lights out scenario here in Ukraine. Now, they're saying that the Russians used a certain type of weapon that I forget what they call it, but it fries. I don't think it was an EMP, but that blue color came from the weapon. Did you see that blue color? If you look really closely, you'll see this sky turn blue. And they say that this weapon, it's kind of like an EMP weapon type thing, that you see that big blue, it just basically shut everything off. That's kind of scary. Tucker Carlson says here that the U.S. is moving towards civil war. And yeah, there's some really weird stuff going on right now. In fact, I'm going to see what they're doing over here. I know that this whole ICE thing that's going on is... Prepper News just uploaded a video. China enters the war. Look at his thumbnail. I love it. I love this thumbnail. Look at the thumbnail of Canadian Prepper. Where are we at here? Can you see this? Look at what Canadian Prepper put up there. China enters the war. Oh, what is this button? What is this button? That's the button to press to end it all. We're just going to push this little button here. You know what that reminds me of? I'll show you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of this. Now, I can't play the whole thing because I'll end up getting a copyright, so I can only play parts of it. How many of you guys remember this? Penguins of Madagascar. Anybody ever see that movie? My kids love that movie. Hold on. And what happens in the movie is so funny because they're being held captive and they've got a boatload supply of cheesy diddles. But Dave, the octopus, has all these cute little penguins. He's going to turn them into monsters. And he's got some secret serum that basically, it's kind of like mRNA. It alters your DNA and it turns you into a monster. Because he doesn't like cute and cuddly things because he's an octopus. And these are the penguins. The penguins are so cute. Everybody loves penguins, but they don't like octopuses. It's kind of like Trump. He's got that chip on his shoulder, like he just doesn't like the fact that cute and cuddly, you know what I mean? And so he was always upstart. He was always up, what do they call it? What's the word I'm looking for? upstaged by the Penguins all the time, and he never forgave them. So he was going to get them back. So he made this serum that was going to turn them into monsters so that nobody would love them anymore. They're not cute and cuddly anymore because they've been given some mRNA injection. But it was actually a beam. Remember the beam? Well, they escaped, and there's the button. Oh, please don't push that button.
Oh, look, a button. Cut it down.
Oh, you blew it. You pressed the button and you shouldn't have. Poof.
What have I told you?
Oh, there's another button. Don't press that button. I can't play the whole thing because it's copyright. It's DreamWorks, you know. They're very aggressively watching over their files.
Sorry, what?
What if I told you about pressing buttons? You're not supposed to press buttons. Why? What happens? This happens. Now you're going to get zapped with the mRNA. You see what happens when you press buttons? Okay, so anyways. You don't want to get zapped by mRNA, do you? When you get zapped by mRNA, it ruins your day. It turns you into a monster. You don't want to be turned into a monster, do you? So... So what did Canadian Prepper say? China just messed up Trump. he used an expletive. Starts with an F. But I won't say that. He's still a pagan, but I still think he's got some insights into the geopolitics. I do watch what he says. He says China just effed Trump, 100% tariffs, market crashes. NATO puts armed drones on the border. What? So he's saying that NATO is now putting armed drones on the border. Really? Okay, so what's going on here, Aquila? Aquila is saying something here. Hold on. Breaking frontal coastal regions east of Caracas, namely Zulia. Where is this at? That would be in north of Colombia, north of Brazil, Caracas. Is that a part of what country is that? It's right there on the Caribbean Sea, but it says the frontal coastal regions east of Caracas, namely Zulia, Falcon, and Aragula, have been placed on a heightened state of alert, Venezuela media states. Additionally, the Venezuelan military has urged citizens to expect deployment of the military towards critical points along the coast and to also not film the ongoing developments. What? So are we about to invade over there? See, I've been expecting something to go down, and Trump needs that oil. The United States needs energy. We need energy bad, and we're going to go take it. And all those oil fields and deposits there that are larger than Saudi Arabia, that's where we're at. That's what our focus is on. It has nothing to do with narco-terrorists or narco-drug, the drug trade or anything like that. Has nothing to do with that. Otherwise, we would have sanctioned and dealt with China in a more harsh way because all the fentanyl is coming from China. But they say it's coming in through Mexico too. But so this is what they just said. Let me just post this on our main page here. Okay. Let's see if I can fill this up so you can see it. We'll look at this so you can look at this here. And then I'll go check out Canadian Prepper here real quick. So here is the map that he's talking about. And he says Venezuela has made these alerts that I guess their military is going in there. So where's Venezuela at? So all these areas in here, can you see my cursor? Whoops. What the heck did I do? Okay, there we go. Telegram page. Capture cursor. Okay, so maybe you can see it now. Okay, there we go. So right here is the area that they were talking about. Over here all the way into Zulia and Falcon areas. So where is Venezuela? Oh, so Venezuela administrative divisions. So this whole area is Venezuela, right? And the state capital is right there in Caracas, or the national capital. The state capital is, okay, so they got state capitals all throughout, right? Okay. The national capital is right there in Caracas. These are all different states within Venezuela. It looks to me like they're getting ready for some kind of a conflict with the U.S. right now. So this is breaking news. Breaking news. You heard it right here on Blazing Press. BP News, once again, breaking out the news before anybody else does. Let's see here. What else we got here? So the Trump administration has confirmed that thousands of federal employees were fired and received reduction in force, RIF notices today, across at least 7 departments. The golden age, here we come. The golden age is here. Everybody's going to lose their jobs. Nobody's going to have no food. Prices going up. Wars breaking out. But hey, it's the golden age. Peace and prosperity for all. Freedom cities. UBIs. Bitcoin capital. Peace president. The president of peace. AstraZeneca, another COVID crime culprit, is the latest to be rewarded by Trump following his last announcement about Pfizer. He also awarded Pfizer huge because they're investing so much, you know. It's okay as long as your sins are forgiven as long as you invest your money into our country, right? Money changes everything. Doesn't matter how many people you murdered. It's okay. Come on in. Sit down. Let's make a deal. I'm sure the devil's making deals with him too. You think you think he would deal with the devil if the devil told him, like, Donnie, open up your fiddle, play a fiddle hard, 'cause helps if you stand right down and da-da-da-da-da. What if you lose, the devil gets your soul? I bet you Donald would do a deal with the devil. Because he loves deals. If the devil gave him a good deal, don't you think he would take it? He seems like the kind of guy that would do it. I think so. He's always looking for a good deal. And you know, the devil could do good deals. He can make you a millionaire, a billionaire. Maybe he'll be the first trillionaire. You never know. The ruler of the whole world. As King Charles said, he has trillions at his disposal. He able to have military forces, the likes of which the world has never seen, with trillions at his disposal. Who was he talking about? Was he talking about Trump? Because I know Trump got to walk in front. You know, he was out of protocol, like, go on, Trump. You are the man. Even Queen Elizabeth said, go ahead, Trump. You can walk in front of me. This is not the protocol of of royal majesty, but being that you're king of the world, go ahead. And Trump was like, okay, I'll take you up on that. I know you didn't want to give me that award, but I'll take it. Didn't want to give up I know you didn't want to give up that crown, but I'll take it. So anyways, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so let's look at the chat. I'm going to go back to the chat because I know you guys are probably wondering, where's Robert? He's not talking to us anymore. I got to do a million little things on the back end here. Okay, here we go. I can see my chat now. All right, guys. It is late. I know it's time for Betty Bye. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look really quick in Portland. I want to see if there's chaos breaking out there yet. Portland. They have a live stream there. Portland Andy. Let's do that one really quick and see. Oh, I wanted to see what the prepper had to say. Hold on. Let's see what he said, what happened here really quick. My gosh. So this just happened within the last hour in Portland. So this is what Portland looks like right now. A bunch of crazies out there.
Haircut?
In the ICE facilities. I'm just going to turn it down.
Betty?
Yeah, you got sharks, you've got polar bears, you've got a bunch of leftists, Palestinian flags, all basically hanging out at the eye. Oh, you got a shark out there too. Let's just see what. Let's see if they did any crazy stuff. You see how they got ICE guys up on the roof? Oh, you got some ducks? Wow, you got Donald and Daffy Duck out there. Pink shark and a blue shark.
Different sizes for sure.
Uh-huh. Oh, so LA is doing stuff too. Look at what's going on. So this is LA, this is Portland. This was only about an hour ago.
These people are lame.
Let's just see what happened here.
Talking to cops and everything. Look at that.
Just for a minute here, I just want to see what happened here.
Right, Lacey?
What in the world?
So lame.
That looks so stupid. Why are they dressed like that?
LA's louder than Portland, but Portland has some freaking blowies out there.
Make sure y'all unfilter chat. The fist.
I just want to see if anything bad happens. Last time there was a bunch of, I think they got a guy playing a violin out there. Last time there was a bunch of chaos. I think this is all going to go into chaos here pretty soon. The stuff that's going on at these facilities. It doesn't look like anything major happened. Okay. All right, so there's something else going on here. Let's see. All right, so Aquila says now's the best time to be looking to purchase defense industry stocks. All right. Let's look and see what Amir said really quick. Wow. Look at the sea of people coming back to Gaza. Look at this. Look at how many people are coming back into Gaza. Now I got that song in my head. If you lose, the devil gets your soul. That guy was playing the violin. He was the guy that was doing his fiddle, playing his fiddle hard. Honey, you never did get that statement about Trump. Remember you were showing me that? Are you listening to me right now? I want to see if you can get that commentary about, because it's kind of similar to what I think. Remember you read that about how Trump doesn't like Netanyahu, and this is all playing into the hand. This was kind of, this was set up for the Nobel Peace Prize going. And I don't know. It does take time for them to decide who a Nobel Peace Prize winner is. That's why it was weird with Obama, because when Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize, he hadn't even been in office. It takes at least a year to figure out who the Nobel Peace Prize winner is going to be. And so it didn't make any sense that he received the Nobel Peace Prize because he hadn't even been in for a few months. So it was completely out of, it was something that happened that wasn't supposedly normal. Remember we were talking about that, and you read that statement to me, and how that Trump doesn't like Benjamin Netanyahu, and this taking back of the Peace Prize from Israel, or by Israel, because Israel's kind of supposedly a little more in control of who gets it, and this is kind of Netanyahu's way of saying, to Trump, hey, remember? I may be reading too much into this, but is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, here it is. That was it. Okay, let me read you this. So, I thought this was interesting commentary. And this is about the Nobel Peace Prize. So, I kind of, in a certain way, find a little bit of an agreement on this. But let me read it to you and just see if it resonates with you guys as well. Let me see here. Okay, so it says I don't know if she uses that colorful language, but she does kind of obscure it there. But here's what she says. She says, I may be reading too much into this, but here are my thoughts around the Nobel Peace Prize not going to Trump. Trump forcing Netanyahu's hand into signing a deal that de-escalated Israel's control ambitions would have deeply frustrated the hawkish faction in Tel Aviv. For them, the so-called peace was not victory but limitation. And if we accept that Nobel Committee is influenced, if not controlled, by the globalists, then awarding the prize to Maria Corina Machado, a Latin American politician, formerly allied with Likud, so she in some way has already got connections to the Likud party there in Israel. She becomes a symbolic act of reasserting allegiance. Allegiance to who? Oh, well, to the real agenda of Israel, right? And it's really not as much, there's a lot of subtleties and layers that are going on here, compartmentalized images that are being projected for not only consumption of the populace, but also between leaders and really what they're really saying. They're really saying other things, not just what's being seen as a theatrical, WWE kind of event. This is all for public consumption, the WWE part of it. What goes on behind the scenes is the real negotiations of how it all plays out, right? That's what you really want to be looking at. What's really being negotiated behind closed doors. Not what we're seeing, but here's what she says. McAdoo's section sends several coded messages. She's talking about the Nobel Peace Prize winner. It rewrites the narrative of who represents democracy and freedom in the Western Hemisphere, rewarding someone openly. Let me pull this up so you can see it. Rewarding someone openly connected to Israel's ruling party. It diminishes Trump's diplomatic achievement by transferring the aura of peacemaker to someone ideologically in alignment with Netanyahu. And it serves as a quiet form of revenge, a way of reminding Trump that even if he compelled the peace, the establishment still controls the narrative of recognition. Right? They didn't want Trump to get too much glory out of this. Personally, I think it's Netanyahu's way of silencing or silently telling Trump to, take a hike, right? Remember, what we see and hear is often the opposite of what's really going on. And I've said this many times before. Trump and Bibi detest one another. And I've told you that too. They have said some pretty choice words to each other, at least from Trump's end. And it's been quoted in the media a number of times. And you can see the way he, in his body language at certain points in time, just like he, his real thoughts are bubbling to the surface when he said to MAGA, go, I don't want your vote. Go do whatever you want. I don't care when it relationship to the Epstein files, remember? And that was really what he really thinks. I don't think he really cares. He just got what he needed when he got voted in, just like he told the Christians, go out and vote. You only have to vote for me one more time. That's it. You'll never have to vote for me again. You'll never have to vote again. But anyways, I don't know. What do you thought about that? If that makes any sense to you, there might be something behind that, like I said. Anyways, I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. It is kind of late. I hope you're all doing well and you have a good sleep. Praying for all you out there. We want to make sure we're all locked in. We're grandfathered into the, got our ticket to the New Jerusalem. If you're connected to the heavens, that's the most important thing, right? Make sure that you've got your life squared away with God in every way, because time is definitely short. It says that there's going to be a time when no man can work while it is still day, for the night is coming when no one can work. And I believe that we're coming into that period when things are going to get really dark and there will be no more time left. And the age of grace may be slipping away. So take advantage of every opportunity, for the days are evil, it says. Make the most of every opportunity. Occupy until he comes. Make the most of every opportunity, for the days are evil. Amen. Love you all. God bless. Lord, bless everyone out here that's listening. I pray your blessing upon every heart and soul. Draw them to yourself and to Christ. In your mighty, all-powerful name that is above every name, every knee will bow to in the end. We thank you, Lord, that we bow now. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. God bless. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow, the Lord willing.